Hey everybody, Two Souls right here, and we are joining today with this show called Souls from the Struggle. And today joining us we have Javier Raygoza.
Hey everybody, much love. Thanks for having me.
And we are going to interview him today, and he's going to let us know what he went through in his life. So I want to start off by saying thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So I just wanted to know, how was it growing up when you were in the neighborhood?
Well, for me, growing up was just, I grew up in a family of gang members. My pops was a gang member, grandma, my step-grandpa, I think my grandpa too, but he's from another neighborhood. But mostly my roots is in Monte. I grew up in El Monte, and I just seen it as a legacy. That's what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be a gang member, just like everybody else around me. So for us, it's like that's how you built your name, by furthering your status in the neighborhood, and that's what I wanted to do.
Wow. So then do you think that because you grew up in that kind of environment with gang members being in your generation, your mom, your dad, and then probably their mom and their dad, do you feel like that you had to look up to that and be that and not let them down, so you had to join a gang?
Yeah, definitely. I did. I felt that there was like, it's crazy because my mom gave me my dad's name exactly, right? Like, it's not even Junior or nothing. It's the exact same name.
Exact same name.
Yeah, Javier Raygoza, just like my pops. And then when I joined the neighborhood, cricket. And so for me, I felt like I was competing with him to get out of his shadow. I didn't want to be a younger version of him. I wanted to be my own guy. And it was difficult because I had to do things and to elevate myself.
Yes.
Right? So I heard, when he first went to the joint, I think he was about 25, 26 years old.
Wow.
So when I first got to YA, I was 16 years old. So I was like, yeah.
You were even younger than him.
Got him, yeah.
When he went and he was 25, and then you were 16.
Yeah.
So you were underage.
So I was happy because I beat him, right? like I'm creating my own legacy.
Yeah.
And so, there weren't a lot of people. I had a lot of homies that went to YA, but it was a small percentage of us that went there. So I felt like I was like, yeah, like I'm doing something that not many other people have done. A lot of people have went to prison, but not a lot of people went to YA, right? Mm-hmm. So I felt like, yeah, like there's only a few of us that I went there, so I was excited for it.
Oh, okay. So then when you were in there, did you have any regrets or anything like that make you feel like, leaving your family behind and stuff like that? Did you worry about that?
No, I didn't worry about it too much. I always figured that if I wanted to see my family, I would have stood out. And it's not that I didn't want to see them, but I understood what it was. There was I had an ambition, mm-hmm. right? And I knew that this was part of life. And my pops always told me, when you go to jail, worst thing you could do is worry about going home. Mm. So just do your shit. Go in there, handle your business. You'll get out when you get out. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how I was at first. I was just like, fucking, I'll see my family in 9 years, whatever. I'll see them eventually. I know they couldn't keep me for life. I knew that.
Well, yeah, because you were still underage, right?
Yeah. So they couldn't keep me for life, but I knew I had a long time ahead of me. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and while you were in there, did you get any rivals? Like, was there anybody that, didn't like you or anything like that you had to go through?
Well, there were a lot of problems that I caused. And it's crazy because the homies told me as soon as I got there, like, we got this shit sold up. Don't do anything stupid and you'll be fine. You know what that means, right? I said, yeah, I know what that means. But I didn't know what that meant. I thought I knew what that meant. I thought, like, don't go out, right? But no, I was creating problems. And it was a trip because there was one time where I did something that got everybody else involved that I shouldn't have did. Oh. And it's because, so basically what happened is me and we call them ramplas. Me and my rampla, it was just me actually. I got into it with somebody for nothing basically, right? This guy was cool with a lot of my homies. He was cool with a lot of us. But I got into it with him. I said, fuck it, we're gonna get down. So his rampla says, you're gonna get down with my homeboy, like you're gonna get down with him, you have to get down with me. So that's how basically a rampla shot works. You get down with somebody, your rampla gets your run back, right?
Okay.
So my rampla was Diablo from Venice. He was gonna get my run backs with them. right? So it sounds easy 2-on-2. But I had a lot of homies there. And one of my homies see me in the school area and he tells me like, hey, fool, like, you're gonna get down with so-and-so because you're gonna get down with Ramfla, right? I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm gonna get down with him too.
Oh.
And I said, nah, fool, like, you don't need to do that. This has nothing to do with you. This is between me, him, and our Ramflas. And he's like, nah, fool, that does have something to do with me. They're not gonna bust a Ramfla shot on my homeboy, right? So he's like, so if he gets down with Ramfla shot with you, he's gonna get down with all of us. And I felt bad, like, damn, man, like, that's not what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like like it was a crutch, you know what I mean? Like, damn, I wanted to get my ride on by myself, but I kind of understood there's consequences. That's when I really learned, like, there's consequences to your actions because I'm getting people involved that weren't even supposed to be involved.
Oh, I see.
Right? So it's like, damn, so that's when I was like, all right, I got to pick and choose my battles,
Your
and
battles.
it has to be worth it because if not, I have homies because I had homies who were doing really well and they were on their way to going home and I could have jeopardized that. But luckily what happened is the Ramfla of the other guy seen like, oh shit, we're gonna get all kinds of people involved for nothing. So he said, look, it just as long as, you know, my boy Diablo doesn't get involved, I won't get involved. So I said, cool. So he said, as long as my homie, my boy, my Ramfla doesn't get involved, he wouldn't get involved. So it ended up just being a one-on-one between me and the original guy.
Oh.
But it was again, it was for nothing.
Sounds to me like when you say Ramfla, because a Ramfla is told to me is a car, like a lowrider.
Yeah, that's why.
You mean like a person actually?
Yeah,
like,
a Ramfla, because you ride with them.
Okay. It's a different terminology. So while you were in there, did you experience any like any life-changing experience? Like, did you go through like any regrets or anything like that?
Yeah, there were actually a few times where it really made me think, right? First time was I was in lockup in Nellis, a cottage called Nixon, right? And a volunteer had slid me a book called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, was the name of the author. And it really changed my perspective. I started breaking things down and started really asking myself questions that I never asked myself before. So the first question that I asked was, am I this way because I want to be this way, or am I this way because this is what I think society expects of me? I started really, it took me a few days to ask that question, like to answer that question. Went through a few things, and at first, when I first went to lock up in Nellis for the first time, I thought it was so fucking hardcore. Like, it's like a movie, right? Like they gotta come to your room and they have to shackle you up to get out. Like, I'm such a fucking danger. They can't control me, right? Like, that's what I thought. They can't control me. Like fuck, I'm uncontrollable. I'm in the jail's jail. There's nowhere they could send me. They can't threaten me with anything, right? Because they could always threaten you with something, right? They're like, when you're in juvenile hall, you're gonna go to YA. Do you want to go to YA? It's like, oh fuck, now I'm in YA. So it's like when you're in, like, we'll send you to lockup. And now they hardly threatened you with that, but they could. Like, we'll send you to lockup. And then when I'm in lockup, what could they do to me?
So did you kind of get like a thrill of it?
Oh,
like you were like at that age,
hell yeah.
like,
I thought I was the shit. I thought I was the shit. Like, man, like, they can't do anything to me. There's nothing nobody could do. They go try to whoop my ass or whatever, but that's it. Like, they can't do anything to me. And then as after I read the book, and I realized like I was being treated like a dog, right? Like I was an out of control dog. And what do? You put that dog, you control that dog, right? If it's out of control, you put him down and you're gonna control it, right?
Yeah.
That's what I felt like was happening to me after. At first I thought I was uncontrollable, then I realized I was being controlled. What they would do is they would put handcuffs on me, shackle me up, and take me from my room or my cell or whatever. They take me to another cage, either outside or take me to a cage in the day room to watch TV. I had to watch TV in a cage and shit. Or go outside and put you in
separate from others?
Yeah, well, everybody has, it's like, we call them, the way we looked at it is the ones inside were like phone booths, because they were the size of a phone booth. That's when
okay.
the phone booths were still around back then. Yeah, so you had phone booths, and then outside is like the dog kennels.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like you go outside, they put you in a fucking a cage, and you have a ball. What the fuck am I gonna do with this, right?
Wow. It's like a human cage,
You
basically.
can't throw it at anyone, like you're locked in. So I started thinking like, man, do I want to live like this for the rest of my life? Because I had chalked it up before that. Like, yeah, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail. This is it. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to die here. I'm not there, not in Dallas, of course, but I'm going to die in prison. Like that's how my life's going to go. And I was happy to take it there. But when I started thinking about it, really thinking about it and breaking it down to what it was, then I realized I didn't want to do that. Like the little bit of freedom that I had on the main line, I allowed that to be taken from me, right?
Yeah.
And I realized the further I go, the less and less freedom, the more restricted I'm going to be. And I started thinking like, nah, that's not what I want for myself. That's not what I want. So yeah, that book really changed my perspective. When I was in lockup at that time, the plan was for them to hold me there, give me a program, hold me there until I was 18, and then send me to YTS, where I'd probably end up maxing out and doing like whatever, right? But I decided I had to speak up for myself. I'm gonna have to fucking talk my way out of this. I didn't think I was a very bright kid because I had a warped sense of reality, but I was bright enough at that time to understand like I need to speak, and I kind of know what to say.
Yeah.
So what I did is I went to board, because you have to go to board for them to give you a lockup program. I go to board, they're like, we're gonna give you a lockup program till you're 18, or not. They didn't say that, but like 6 months. But I knew what they were gonna do. By the time the 6 months come, I'd be 18, and they'd say, well, we're not gonna put you back in the main line. They're gonna give me another board program to send me out to YTA.
And while you're in the board program, what is it that they're teaching you, or is it?
Oh, it's not a board program. It's board. It's basically administrators, now list administrators deciding what they're going to do with you.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, we're going to send you back to mainline, or are we going to send you, are you going to do a program in a lockup? So you stay in lockup, a Nixon program, you stay there 3, 4, 6 months, right? Sometimes even longer if you make it stay. And you basically stay in there until they figure that you're able to program with other wards in a more free setting.
Oh,
back in the dorms, right? So for me, I just thought like, man, this isn't gonna work for me. If I do this, I'm gonna be maxed out, right? I'm gonna be here till I'm 25. That was about 17 and a half at the time. So I realized like, nah, I can't do that. So I talked to them, but I think I was a little older actually. I was probably close to 18. Now I think about it, yeah, because I told them I'm about to be 18. I think the best thing for me to do would be to go to a pre-parole cottage.
What's that?
It's like a cottage that gets you ready for parole.
Oh, okay.
And I said, because if you guys are true to rehabilitation, I think that's the best place for me to be rehabilitated. I'll get my GED, and I'll be able to learn different, different work activities they have for you right there, right? The first two. And I told them, like, this is what I want. I don't want to stay in jail. I basically told them the truth, right? Like, jail sucks. I don't want to be here for the rest of my life. I did think I wanted to do that, but I had the opportunity to read, and I see that I want something more.
So you came to a realization towards...
Yeah, and I told them, and 2 of them looked like they're fucked, like I was crazy, because nobody goes from lockup to pre-parole. Like, you have to do well to go to pre-parole. And luckily, my parole agent at the time, Miss Hood or Mr. Chen, I forgot her name. I think it was Mr. Chen. She changed her name, I think. Yeah, so she kind of said, like, I believe him. I think he's genuine.
So you had one person there that had that faith in you.
Yeah, she's the person that knows me the best. So they went with it. They said, all right, cool. And I went from lockup, I went back. And they're like, what's up, fool? What's going to happen with you? And I told, I'm going to Tyler. They said, no fucking way. There's no way. Like, I was like, yeah, for real, I'll go to Tyler. And they came and they got me. They sent me to Tyler. And I remember when I got to Tyler, some guy, he was a staff member. He seen me and he's like, you're coming from Nixon? And I said, yeah. He's like, oh, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel now.
So once you got there and you knew that you were getting closer to getting released, what were your thoughts in your head?
Well, for me, I kept myself occupied. So what I did is I had 2 jobs. I basically worked all day. So in the morning, I would do this job called facility planning, where we fixed up the institution. You got paid like 95 cents an hour.
Wow.
Which was like big for us. Like, oh shit, you're making money. So I did that, and then in the evening or afternoon, the afternoon to the evening, I worked in lockup in Taft. That's the place where I felt most at home, was at Taft for some reason. I don't know. It's crazy because even though it's always been my big problem. Even though I took myself out of there, I still needed to be back there. And it's still a problem to this day.
Really?
Where I still need to be amongst, like, I can't be too far from my neighborhood. I can't be too far. It's because, I don't know, it's this connection I feel right there. So I would work there, and I did that for most of my time until I got about 9 months left. Well, I had 9 months, or actually probably about a year left. I went to fire camp, that didn't work out. And then I went down to YTS with 9 months left. And then that's where I had probably the most major regret that I've had in my entire time.
Really?
Yeah. So what happened is I got to YTS, and 2 weeks before I got out, my grandmother passed.
Oh.
Yeah.
That must have been hard.
Yeah, that was very hard. You know, she was somebody who I admired so much, and I loved her, you know, with all my heart. And she would come to see me whenever she had the opportunity to.
Oh, she would?
And yeah, she had a car, she would come to see me by herself a lot of the times too. And she would tell everybody, is like, oh, give me your guys' change, so to make sure I have something to eat from the vending machines.
Oh.
Right? She would get change from everybody. And I felt bad that she passed away while I was in there, because I felt that I deserved it. I didn't deserve shit. I have nothing coming to me. But I felt that she did not deserve to leave without her oldest grandchild saying goodbye to her. Right? Like, she should have had the opportunity to say goodbye and leave the way she wanted to. But unfortunately, I took that from her.
Oh.
And that was another major step for me to say, like, never again. Never will I put myself in a position where I won't be there.
Wow. So then, as you were getting ready to leave and to come out to, you know, open to the society, and what were your goals like in your head? What were you thinking about what you wanted to do?
I don't know. I had so many different things. I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. There was one thing that I didn't want to do, and it's not a knock on anyone. It just has to do more with expectations. I didn't want to do what other people expected me to. I think that book kind of changed it that way, right? So I think everybody said, you can get out, you can find a trade and do that. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that.
How old were you when you got out?
I was 20.
20.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was 20, relatively young. And I said, I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. I want to do my own thing. So I worked at Kmart for a bit. My wife, at the time my girlfriend, my wife now, she ended up getting pregnant. Had my daughter, and then I started working for Bank of America, and I worked for Bank of America for about 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was pretty uncommon. You know what I mean? Like, I tried to do something that wasn't like what other people in my situation were doing.
So while you were out, and you said you worked at Kmart, how long did you work there for?
I worked there for about a year.
So let's just say that for that whole year that you were out, did your homies try to get in touch with you and try to get you back
Oh yeah,
into,
yeah,
like,
yeah. Well,
the hood, like, as far as doing the bad things? And stuff?
Moved right back into my neighborhood, because I always said, if I can't survive there, I can't survive anywhere. Yeah, so it was, you know, it was very tricky at first, because I was back in my neighborhood, and there were times where I'd find myself, you know, running from the cops and shit, and thinking, like, what the fuck am I doing, man? I'm gonna go back. Because in my heart, I wanted to change, but its habits are so hard to break. And that's one of the reasons why I know it's difficult for a lot of people, and I try not to judge anyone, because the only reason that I was able to change is because my parents had changed. So when I got home, the reason why I was working at Kmart is because they had it stable. They had jobs. We had a car for the first time. I was like, what the fuck? Like, that shit tripped me out. So I came home to a stable environment. And even coming home to a stable environment, I still found myself in situations where I could have ended up back in jail.
Oh, wow.
So that's why I never judge anyone. I know people change at different rates, and there's different situations that could be factors. So yeah, there were a lot of times where I felt like what am I doing? Like, fuck, how am I gonna get myself out of this? What am I gonna do now? And it's not because I was getting pressured by anybody. It's just because those are the boys, right? Like, those are the homies and shit. So I was like, what's up, boy? You guys doing? And then, well, we're gonna be over here. You could just chill if you want. But like, nah, I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna roll with you guys. And then next thing you know, it's like, damn, fuck, I should have stayed at home, or I shouldn't even be out here. So it's not until I had until my wife was pregnant, we were about to have my daughter, that my oldest daughter, that I realized that I need to stay home. I need to do things differently. Yeah. So for the first year was probably the most difficult time. After that, it became a lot.
Did you have
easier.
a lot of your homies teasing you, or like kind of like saying, like, you know, you're a sellout, or just because you want to change your life? Because I know I hear a lot of stuff about when someone wants to change their life around and they're not trying to claim the hood anymore.
A lot of
backlash.
For a lot of my boys, they really had love for me. I have love for them. You know, I mean, a lot of them passed away, and different things have happened. You know what I mean? So a lot of them really had love for me. I had love for them, and they were pretty supportive. There were times where this is the sad part too. The sad thing about it is a lot of my boys were passing away or getting snatched and going back to prison. So my crowd was like, we were out there, and it seems like every summer they let us all out, and then they start taking everybody back. So by the time like March came around, I got out in August. By the time March came around, mainly everybody that I was out there with in the beginning was gone.
Wow.
Right, so it's unfortunate, and I did have a few homies that would come by when I'd be asleep, and they'd be like, "Get up, what are you doing asleep?" But that's not all I was doing. That's all they saw. I was working graveyard at Kmart, and then I went to school in the morning. So I would come home around 1 or 2, and I only had a few hours of sleep. That's all I was doing for a long time. I didn't have a lot of time to myself because I wanted to do better for myself. But you know, I didn't even end up going to, like, what I went to school for, I didn't end up using.
So you ended up what?
I didn't end up using that shit. I went to school for dental assisting. I never was a dental assistant. Yeah.
So you got a certificate for that and everything?
I didn't finish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you had started it.
I finished the test, and I did pretty good at the called modules. I did good in the modules, but when it came to like working on people's teeth, I didn't want to do it. Yeah, so I ended up working at Bank of America.
Creeped out or something?
And yeah, it was somebody's rotten tooth. I was moving the tray and I smelled it. I was like, oh, fuck that. I don't want to smell this shit for the rest of my life.
Certain jobs is not for everyone.
Yeah, so
that's for sure.
I ended up working at Bank of America, and that's when I stood there for 11 years. Then from there, I went to Wells Fargo for another 3. And now I'm here, self-employed.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So once you were like working and you were already, you know, getting your life back on track, did you think of like any things that you could have changed back then, that if you could have, like, what would it have been?
No, I think of that now.
No.
Now, I think I spent way too much time at Bank of America. I do, for real. I think that I should have invested in myself and took chances. I worked for banks because they were comfortable. I worked for banks because they were safe, right? I should have taken a chance on myself a lot earlier. There's a lot of talents that I have. There's a lot of things that I want to do in my life that I have to start now from way far. I'm almost 40 right now.
Oh, okay.
Right, so it's like if I would have started a lot earlier, things could have progressed faster at this point, right? At this point, who knows?
Yeah.
So now, I could say now I do have a lot of regrets when it comes to working there, because I wasn't happy. I worked there for a check, and I worked there for stability.
Oh,
and
okay.
I should have really taken a chance and did what I wanted to do.
Yeah. So how many kids do you have now?
I have 4 kids.
You have 4 kids.
Yeah,
wow.
4 kids.
Okay, and so what would you say to them? Like, you know, being the fact that you were a kid when you started off being in, you know, gangs and being in the criminal activity and stuff like that with your friends and all that, because of course you said your mom and your dad did it too. But you know, now that you've, you know, raised up and you've grown up, you're not living that life anymore. But what would you say to your kids, you know, once they're teenagers and they want to like be out there? And
well, two of them are teenagers. One, the last one, he's 12. He's about to be. The youngest is 11, but she has special needs, so she's not going to be in the streets like that. But the other 3, they're basically teenagers.
Oh,
the
okay.
youngest of them 3 is 12, so he's almost a teenager, and they don't have any desire to do that. They don't. They weren't raised around that. I moved them. Like I said, I'm not too far from my neighborhood, but I moved them far enough where they've never been around that. They don't know what that is. They don't have any. They don't think it's cool. They don't understand why people are drawn to the stories. Like they don't understand any of that. To them, it's like weird. Like why? Like why would you do that, Dad?
Yeah.
Why would you think that's cool? And they even trip out on my wife. Why would you think that's cool? Like to even try to be around that shit, right? So they don't have any knowledge of it. I'm sure like they understand what it is, but they don't really they don't have no real understanding of what it is, like the truth behind it. They just see it from an outsider, so they're outsiders when it comes to that life.
So they do know that, like what happened back then.
I tell my kids everything.
Okay.
What I try to do is, I think for my parents, and it's no knock on them. I love my parents to death. My pops, rest in peace. My mom's still here. I love her to death. But I felt like a lot of times they kept things from me.
Oh.
Yeah, so they wouldn't tell me the full story, and I had to fill in the holes and fill in the details, and that caused me to explore on my own, right?
Yeah.
So my kids, I try to just tell them everything. Maybe I tell them too much. I don't know. We'll find out. You know what I mean? Like, but for me, I just try to tell them everything. I don't lie to them. I never made up stories or any of that shit, made up excuses. I tell you, I was in jail at the time. I was fuck up, right? Like, I used drugs. I did a gang of dumb shit, and I even tell them like that's why I got to work extra hard now. Yeah. Because I didn't work extra hard then, right? So now I got to bust my ass to get what I want when I could have just been busting my ass as a kid. Yeah. But it is what it is. So I tell them I always tell them life is your journey. Like it's gonna be their journey. Whatever they want to do in life, I'll support them. But at the end of the day, they're in the driver's seat, not me. Like, exactly. Even as kids, I tell them like I'm gonna guide you guys, but the decisions you make right now are decisions you're making. I can't make those decisions for you, right? So I'm fortunate that they choose to do right. But if they didn't, then they would know like it's on them. So did you find yourself struggling like when you were becoming a dad? Like when you first had that baby, the first little baby? Yeah. It took me until my fourth child to really become like the dad I am today. I would say I was macho. I was a macho guy. So I told my wife, "You want kids? You take care of them. I'll support them and do that. But I'm not changing diapers. I'm not doing any of that." So that was her. To me, that like at that time, that was her job, right? Like I'm not doing that shit. But life has a way of humbling you. Yeah. Life has a way of humbling you. So my fourth child was born with special needs, and I realized she was going to be dependent on us for the rest of her life. Yeah. So I said, I can't do that to Rosie. Like I have to help. Yeah. So at that point, that's when I started helping. Do you think that decisions that you were saying that you felt like she was like having to do everything, and you were saying like, well, I just pay the bills and stuff like that. Like, did that come from you, or did it come because you seen your dad do that to your mom, or like? It was a cultural, right? It's just the way I grew up. It's just that I've never seen a father change his diapers. That wasn't something I saw. I didn't see fathers changing, like feeding the babies. Yeah. That to me, that was back then. I thought that's what women did. Yeah. That's not. So there's a cultural thing, mostly, because I know that me also coming from a Latino family, there's a lot of times where men are the ones that provide shelter and food and everything else, and then the women are the ones that feed the kids and do all the laundry and cooking and stuff like that. There's a lot of couples out there that to this day are still living in that situation, and some of them are comfortable with it, and some women are okay with it, and they have that understanding. But then there's some where like they wish they could get out of it because they feel helpless because of the fact that it is a hard job being a mom and working, especially the ones that work. So I don't know if your wife was working at the time. No, she wasn't. If at that point that was the only thing that justified is the fact that we had a single income, and that was mine. Oh, okay. If I didn't, then it's like at that point I felt I would have no say in the matter, right? It's like you better get your ass up, but you ain't doing shit. fuck you doing, right? Why did I have you around? Yeah, so, but no, I learned after, like, I missed out on a lot with that because there was bonding moments I could have with my kids. I still have bonding. I bond with them, but I could have been, the bond could have been a lot more.
A lot more.
Yeah, had I had, been there.
Yeah.
Not that I wasn't there, but like emotionally.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, based off everything that we've spoken about, and what would you say to someone like maybe someone that's watching right now that's like 13, 12 years old that's going through something that you probably went through when you were young? What would you say to them?
Yeah, so I would tell them, whatever they do, those are decisions they have to live with. And life is short. And whatever pain, anger they're feeling right now is not going to get better by adding to it, right? So I would say try to figure out what it is that's causing that pain. What is it that's causing that anger? Address that and build on to your life. Don't take away from it, because there's too many of us that are angry, that are full. We have pain in our heart. We're frustrated with life.
Yeah.
And our lives end soon. I have so many homies that passed away before their 25th birthday. I have so many homies that are doing life. They probably won't see the streets again. And when I talk to them, they're like, it is what it is. They're there. But you can tell, given the choice, they'd be out here, right? And sometimes we learn that too late. So what I would tell a kid is, find out what it is that's bothering you. And don't let that impact you anymore. Like, deal with that. Really deal with it. Break that shit down and move on with your life. Find out what it is that makes you happy. Because that's something we don't know. We always, we think it makes us happy. What we're doing is we're numbing the pain.
Yeah.
But instead of numbing the pain, find out what makes you happy. What's going to bring a smile to your face. It might seem lame, it might seem corny because you're young and you want to be fucking like, nah, Shadley, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, nah, but once you do it, you'll be like, dope. Because then I'll tell you one thing, for me, I like collecting shit, right? Like, I have a wall full of fucking collectibles and shit. I would not have collected these shits as a kid. I would have said that shit's lame.
Or like when you were like in your gang.
Nah, fuck no. I would not have. I'm not gonna have toys anywhere, like, nah. But now I really enjoy it, and find out what makes you happy. Find out what makes you happy and build on that. Find out what you're passionate about, and understand that the world is small. It's bigger than just your block. It's bigger than just your town. There's people in France that would probably love to meet you.
Yeah.
There's people in Japan that would love to meet you. There's people all over the world that you can make an impact on. And it's up to you to do that. If you want to stay where you're at, then you're not going to grow past that. The world is so fucking, it's so small, but we make it smaller.
Yeah.
Like, I would say expand your universe.
That's good. That's a good point there. So right now, as we speak, what is it that you're working on right now?
So right now I have a YouTube channel. Incredible Javier is the name of the channel, and I just interview a lot of people, take just a lot of commentary. So come February, I'll bring the day room back. So I have a program called the Day Room, which is a panel. We have weekly, every Saturdays, we have 4 people coming, including myself, talk about different topics. That's the Day Room. I have another program coming up. We're going to focus on success. I have interviews with former YA babies that change their life around to show that anyone can do it.
Yeah.
And I have music I'm working on. I have an album coming out, Tales from the Nasty Crew.
So you rap?
Oh yeah, a little bit, yeah. So and that one has to do with we started making the beats and recording on live streams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
it's you and other people that do it?
It's me and the producer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mainly. He did all the beats and then I'm doing all the rapping.
Oh.
Yeah, so and then that's we did it. We wrote most of it and recorded most of it when we were live streaming. So we kind of got the audience involved. Unfortunately, COVID hit hard in his side of town, so we had to shut that down. But we're still working on the album.
Oh,
so it took a little longer because situations happened. But yeah, hopefully that drops in February also.
Are you able to do like a little freestyle for us? I mean, or like sing the lyrics from your song a little bit from your rap?
Yeah, let me actually pull this one up here. This isn't from that one. That one's a story. So
Okay.
with that one is a full story. It's a person's life.
Okay.
So it's from the beginning up until not the end, but like till a certain point in their life. So that one is like it's a trip. So the way I put that one together. But this is another one that I actually will be having out soon, called "Never Learned How to Dream." I put my hands are blood stained from the pain that I caused. I'm flawed. I'm wondering how I ever got so lost. I crossed so many paths. I look back at my past. They say life is a bitch. At time I felt her wrath, the laugh to mask emotions, hoping for more. From broken and poor to rising up, opening doors. I'm focusing more on positive vibes. A dominant God with prominent ties to the calm and the wise. Stay strong in the mind. If I'm in a bind, I'm figuring out a way to win, with or without anyone's help, without any doubts. Believe in myself. I'm taking that route because that's what winning's about.
Wow.
So you know, something like that. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
So yeah, I have it
It's
with
so
the
positive.
I try to do.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be. I'm not out there like that. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna rap about some shit that I don't do. So you'll never hear me going out there like, "If I shot these vatos up," nah, I didn't. You know what I mean? Even if I did, I didn't. No,
Yeah.
I didn't. Though. I didn't. But you'll never catch me saying no shit like that.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
every time I spit, there's a purpose. There's an intention. So that's why I won't be releasing as much songs as other people, because it's like I really have to understand, like there has to be a purpose behind it when I do it. Not that there aren't a purpose for other people. They probably do live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And they're doing a lot. I don't.
I see.
You know what I mean? So it's like I'm gonna talk about what I do.
Yeah. And then with the whole day room that you do and all the other stuff that you do, you still have time to manage the family and the wife?
Yeah. You know, it's I self-employed, and I do my own thing and make my own hours, and it's at times it can be challenging, but yeah, life is about balance, and that's one thing I'm try to work on right now a lot, is balance. But I do have a lot of time with the family.
Wow. Well, I just want to say thank you for joining us and
thank you for
giving
having
us
me.
the whole rundown of what it is, from growing up in the hood to now, and I'm really proud of you.
I appreciate that.
And,
Thank you.
I just want to tell everybody thank you for watching, and until next time, two souls in the struggle. Peace, everybody.